Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I hope you all are having a great start to the week. So we are here to talk about my extended thoughts on good old Supergirl. I did record something last night, but my lighting was actually insane. I looked like I was in a horror film. So we're just gonna kind of forego that recording and start anew here. This is gonna be audio only. I'm going to try and just go character by character, I suppose. And I'll try not to be super all over the place. I'm going based off of memory. So forgive me if I miss a couple things. Okay. My expectations for this film were low to the flow. I was not expecting much out of this film. And this was before the reviews were coming out, before it was a mixed bag, or maybe not so mixed anymore. I have felt little to nothing concerning the Supergirl film since it was announced in the slate, which was 3 years ago. Dude, I just went and looked back at my video when I talked about it, because I talked about it the day it came out. 3 years ago. We're 3 years into this. I can't believe it. We're 3 years into this. And this is, when we're speaking on films alone, this is the second entry in the DC cinematic universe. What a choice. And I don't think it was a good one. Like, the idea and concept of a Supergirl film, I'm not offended by that. I will never be offended by that. I am questioning that we have it right now. I don't think it was the right decision to have it right now. I also don't think it was the right decision to promote this film as an adaptation of the Woman of Tomorrow comic, knowing full and well you weren't really going to adapt the comic, knowing full and well you likely didn't read the source material. I got a glimpse of it, and I know that they did not adapt the comic. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So, Kara, Miss Kara Zor-El, Supergirl herself. This could be on me. I just don't understand what we were supposed to take from her character. What lessons were we supposed to learn? What was she supposed to learn? What was she supposed to take from this journey and adventure with Ruthye while grappling with this immense grief and trauma that has haunted her entire life, essentially? Not her entire life, but for a good chunk of her life. I couldn't really tell you. They were like back and forth almost with Kara's ideals and what she believed in, what she felt was right. I walked away from this film not really invested in Kara. I didn't care about her next journey and what that would mean, what that would lead to. I'm not super interested in seeing more of her family dynamic with Clark. None of that was really appealing to me. It's strange to watch her throughout the film tell Ruthye, don't take revenge. It's not going to fix you. It's not going to get you where you want to go. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And she speaks in a way where you're thinking she's speaking from experience. However, when I watched the film, we had no visual cues to let us know who Kara may have killed or whose life Kara may have altered significantly to the point of her saying ad nauseum, don't take revenge, don't take revenge, don't take revenge. That would have been nice, so we were clued in on another event in Kara's life that has haunted her for years. But the only thing that we have is the big flashback that we had where her parents died, her entire civilization died 8 years after her home planet imploded on itself. And that is, that's not to dismiss that. We know that she's masking the pain that she feels, with alcohol. She's basically in a drunken stupor the entire film. And I don't mind having that in a lead character. That makes them flawed. It makes them interesting to watch. But I feel like the way that they did it with Kara left a lot to be desired, because she wasn't she wasn't all the way likable. Like, I didn't even want to follow her through this journey. I don't know how else to explain it. It was so odd. But going back to the whole thing with Ruthie. So you're telling her, don't take revenge, don't take revenge. Then we get to the end of the film. And Ruthie has Krem in the palm of her hand. Sword is at his neck. Me and the people I was watching the film with, and then people in the row above us were like, just kill him. Just kill him. It's like, the whole reason we're following Ruthie is so that she can kill him. And Kara convinces her yet again, after saying for the 5th time, don't take revenge. That clicks for Ruthie. So Ruthie walks away. And then Kara is the one that ends up killing Krem. I'm sitting here like, doesn't that go against everything that we've been following with her up until this point? She just gives in to a temptation that doesn't even make sense from my viewpoint, right? Because obviously with Krem, he shot Crypto, which that was avoidable. That could have been very much avoided if Crypto had an ounce of training. I cannot believe she's had Crypto her entire life, and that dog does not know the simple come here command. Like, come on, man. But okay, I know the whole thing with Krem, like he shot Crypto, right? I don't think it would have driven Kara to this point of wanting to murder Krem, especially when she was dead set against it the entire journey. And the only reason she's on that journey is for Crypto. So why kill him? Why is she the one to take his life? I couldn't understand that decision. Why not have it be Lobo? But we'll get to Lobo. It's almost frustrating because throughout watching this film, I really felt like there was a misalignment with Kara and her motivations for doing what she does. The emotional core and precipice of her character was all over the place. Like, we have her with this headset that's connected to an iPod. Clear inspiration from Guardians of the Galaxy and how James Gunn wrote Peter Quill's character with his own Walkman and headphone set, and like clear inspo. I'm sure James Gunn was in the room having that conversation, meddling. I just can't believe otherwise. I can't believe he wasn't there, right? I'm sure he had some part to play in that. The point of the matter is, we understood the emotional significance of Peter always having that Walkman around, always listening to, I think it was 80s music, right? We understood the emotional significance of that very quickly and clearly. With Kara, I think they dropped the ball because it was supposed to symbolize her drowning out the noise, drowning out the pain that she's feeling, similar to what she does in the present day with alcohol. But why not also include her headset with that? Like, you made it a point to include it in the flashback, and then she barely, if at all, I don't think she really uses her headphones and iPod in the present day. Like, the most was, I think, at the bar, and that was like, I don't know, it just dropped the ball for me. We didn't do that right, and that was kind of right there in front of you. And then also with Kara, I don't know. She just wasn't that compelling as a lead. It's really telling when, whether or not you have emotional investment in the main baddie, right, has everything to do with the secondary lead and not our titular lead. That's a problem. Why am I following Kara when Ruthye is the one with the emotional investment here? She's the one that really wants to go after Krem, really wants to make him pay for all the crimes and treachery that he's brought about the galaxy. Kara couldn't really give a shit. I don't think she does. She only cares about Crypto. Even when the whole thing came about with Krem and the brigands being sex traffickers, I couldn't tell that Kara really gave a shit about that the way that Ruthye did. I really couldn't tell. I don't think it shook her the way that it should have. And I think that has to do with the writing and the direction. Because there were certain moments within the film after a big action scene, especially involving the women who were being sex trafficked and essentially sold off to be human incubators. Like, Kara's face looked very indifferent. I think the most emotion that she showed towards that entire little subplot was in the final action sequence, maybe. And mind you, Ruthye had to tell her that the girls were in there. In my opinion, if Kara were even a little bit invested in the fact that they were sex traffickers, she would have been looking for them and looking for Krem. But that didn't happen because, again, the emotional investment that you as a viewer have in this film rests solely on Ruthie's shoulders. Like, come on, man. But let's move away from that. Let's talk about the fight scenes for a second, because for the most part, I think it left a lot to be desired. I did like the one on the bus between Kara and the pirates. I thought that was kind of nicely done. I think the camera work could have been a little better because it was almost hard to follow it and be fully immersed in the fight scene. I liked the one that was in the clearing when Kara was rescuing the women that were being sex trafficked. I did not like the one in the third act. I felt like that was really clumsy. The amount of times Kara was handicapped in this film was a little ridiculous. I mean, for someone who really just doesn't care, she doesn't really care about her own well-being, I would think she wouldn't hold back as much. It took her really until the third act to just kind of go ham. And I felt like there were maybe some inconsistencies with her heat vision, because at some points she could accurately make it a pinpoint laser to hurt someone when she was interrogating the pirates. But then she like hit a Brigham head on and they were fine. Like, I don't know. And that could be maybe their physiology is different. But moving on from that, the worst fight scene was the one in the bar. This was the second, from my memory, the second big fight scene in the film. Okay, I'm not counting the bar when she fought old guy. So this is a different bar. We got like 20 guys around her. She tells Ruthye, go sit in the corner. The fight starts and the camera is still on Ruthye. So I'm thinking we're gonna move the camera, right? We're gonna move it, right? So we can watch Kara, right? No, that doesn't happen. Literally for 95% of this fight, we are watching Ruthye why. Her facial expressions don't even really change. There's nothing interesting about watching Ruthie's reaction to this fight because she's not even looking at it. She's not even really looking at it. Like, so what are we doing? We literally see bits and pieces through a broken mirror or through the blur or like a 5-minute action sequence, and then we cut back to Ruthye. I don't know who made that choice. That was a terrible choice. This is the second big fight scene in the film. This was a way for you to display Kara's immense strength and skill, and you chose to shy away from it for whatever reason. Like, that just did not work. The whole thing with kryptonite, that was whatever. When Krem stabbed her with the kryptonite laced arrows, that was so stupid. I tell you, that was so dumb. That was so stupid. Like, that was so dumb. Another way for her to be needlessly handicapped in her own film. I digress. I think that's all I have to say about Kara. It just left a lot to be desired, like this entire film. But let's move on to Miss Ruthye, okay? Ruthye. As I've mentioned, unfortunately, whether or not you care about Krem lies in whether or not you care about Ruthye and what she's been through. And I'm sorry to say that I was not pulled in. I did not care. I truly believe her brother's death, like maybe 2 other events in this film, were easily avoidable. And it was just kind of silly watching that play out the way it did. Ruthye moved through life with no plan. Like, if Kara wasn't with her, I struggle to understand how she would have gotten from point A to point B. Once Kara was with her, she would just find herself in precarious situations and announce herself to the bad guys. And mind you, there's like 20 of them. And we've been following Ruthye. She has some skill, but not enough to take on 20 Brighams or whatever they're called by herself. She was just, I was like, what was her plan? There were multiple times in the film. I was like, what is your plan if Kara's not here? What are you doing? She was useless throughout majority of this film for me. She put herself, as I mentioned, in situations so Kara could save her, or so action sequences could take place, or so that certain events within action sequences could take place. That is what I call a plot device. And it's pretty crazy that our secondary lead is a plot device, a walking, talking plot device. Come on, guys. Come on. And it's not beyond me that during the fight scene when they were in the clearing and freeing the women who were being sex trafficked, it's not beyond me that the only prominent Black characters in the entire film were all killed off simultaneously and needlessly based on Ruthie's actions and by extension, Kara's actions. All of their deaths were avoidable. Like, are you serious? Once that happened, I was like, yeah, I already know what this is about to be. What? Oh my God. Yeah, Ruthie's bond with Kara, I did not really buy into it. There wasn't a lot there. And that has a lot to do with the passage of time that occurred in this film. Let's talk about that very briefly. This is a little bit unrelated, but I've been reading a lot of romance novels. And the thing that always gets me with these romance novels is the passage of time between the events in the story. Because these people will come together and fall in love in the span of a month. And it's like, what? This is not really believable. Cut back to Supergirl. The events of this film happen in 3 days. Once they established that Krypto had 3 days, you handicapped yourself. This adventure should have taken a month plus. So Kara and Ruthie could really spend time together, really grow to help each other, understand each other, love each other, care for each other. I should have been happy when Kara invited Ruthie to go celebrate the rest of her birthday with her. I couldn't care less. Because you handicapped yourself and had the principal parts of the story take place really in a day and a half. Are we serious? Like, are we serious? So that was pretty disappointing. I don't know if we'll see Ruthie again. I'm not gonna lie, I could care less, to be honest. But let's go to Lobo, right? Lobo. He was criminally underutilized, and it makes me question whether or not he was even supposed to be in this film. Why, oh why, does Krem's second in command have a bounty and Krem does not? You have built Krem to be this sadistic bastard, laying waste without a care in the world, being a sex trafficker, right? And yet, no bounty? So we have Lobo going after his second in command, who has no importance to the story. He adds nothing. He doesn't even have much dialogue, right? So Lobo feels automatically divorced from what's happening with Kara and Ruthie because he's not going after Krem. That was such an easy fix. Why not have him go after Krem? In the third act, he drops Krem off the building. If that would have been the last time we saw Krem, I would have laughed because that would have been not great, but it would have been funny to watch. But as I mentioned in my section about Kara, why not have it so that Lobo kills Krem and he does it for the money? I just feel like that was such an easy fix. Like, what are we doing? That removes that weight from Kara and Ruthie, who have both been struggling with this idea of revenge the entire film. But okay. Lobo's look was cool. His face was fuller than I expected it to be. It doesn't take away from the whole look. It's just something I noticed with Jason Momoa. He should have been Lobo. I feel like we took a little too long, but we have him here. And, I think he did great. When he was on screen, I smiled. His bike was cool. I think they could have done a little bit more with the design. I'm just used to it being a bit more dramatic, having a bit more flair to match Lobo himself, but I digress. Yeah, you could have removed Lobo from this film and not much would have changed. He got himself captured for whatever reason. We don't even know how he got captured, why. He goes about, I knew this plan would work. You didn't know Ruthye was going to be captured, and you surely didn't know she had the skill to get herself out of the prison cell. Like, you were doubting her before she tricked old boy. Okay. All right. Krem, I thought the performance for Krem was great. He was just stuck in a lackluster story. It was interesting when they introduced the sex trafficking angle, because I thought they would just have him just kill for the fun of it. That's what we were introduced to. And I don't know, I feel like to have a villain soulless in that manner would have been interesting to follow. But I digress. I don't know what more I can really say about Krem. He was just he was there. Superman was fine. He just kept getting ignored by Kara the whole film. So yeah, I don't understand how you expect us to buy into this family dynamic. And Kara, this whole film, didn't care about anybody really but herself. A little bit for Ruthye towards the middle end of the film, but I don't know. There was no post-credit scene. I was a little surprised by that, which is fine. I mean, is it fine though? Wait, let me rewind. Is it fine? We're 3 years into this. The slate was announced 3 years ago, dude. Like, I feel like we should have a post-credit scene. Something for us to latch onto, especially after that lackluster film, and we didn't have it. I just don't know. Never throughout watching this film did I think Kara was truly in danger. Did I think Krypto was in danger? Never did I really think Ruthye was in danger. They did this weird jump scare with Ruthye when her and Kara were on the planet with the yellow and green sun. She was like getting water, and then she saw a guy in the water. I think he was a Brigham. And then they did this weird jump scare where another one was behind her and knocked her out. It was so bizarre. That's another thing that I feel like they didn't do enough of. We didn't spend enough time on these planets and really explore. Take in the sights. Like, we did not spend enough time. We did not. This is supposed to be a space adventure, and it felt very watered down. Yeah, visually it gave Guardians a little bit, and I'm very sick of that visual, so it didn't really do anything for me. There was a part of me that wanted to like this, and there were some aspects of it that I liked. I liked Lobo. I liked all the performances. I liked some of the fight scenes. I talked about the music choices, right? I don't know if I did. So let me just talk about that really quick. The music choices in this film, whoa, no. No, especially in the third act when, they were fighting on that big ship, and oh my God, no. What was that music choice? Or sorry, not when they were on the ship, but when they were like in the water. That whole act. No. That was a terrible music choice. It just didn't work for me. I feel like music-wise, they wanted it to be reminiscent of Mad Max, or even a film like Tank Girl. They definitely wanted some aspect of it to be reminiscent of Tank Girl, and it just didn't work for me. It did not work. These directors, you have got to have your own identity if possible. And who knows what's going on behind the scenes? Who knows, right? But if this keeps happening, where you're trying to emulate James Gunn and his writing style and directing style, we're going to keep getting films like this. Because high key, that was almost the case with Superman, if not partly the case in Superman. And stop using crypto as emotional warfare. Like, stop. Stop. Like, in Superman, he was a comedic device. And in Supergirl, it was just full on emotional manipulation. And it just didn't work for me. It did not work for me. We gotta stop. We gotta stop. Like, we have to stop. Trust your character, trust your writing enough to do the legwork. But we already know it did not do the legwork. So, yeah. I think that's really all I have to say on this film. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say, y'all. Thank you so much for listening. For those who did, let me know what you thought about the film if you saw it. If not, no worries. I will catch you guys when I catch you. Bye.